What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 93 of Against the Blitz. And it's draft season, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited to be getting into every single position, every single player at every position. Not really, but we're going to review about as deep as you can get with who's relevant for every position in this upcoming class. And this is exciting. Last year, when we first started, we were getting our footing. We did every position, I think, in the same episode, and it just wasn't this. So this is exciting to do it the right way. We're really going to do a deep dive on everybody here. And I know Austin's always, been heavily involved with the draft, but this is easily the most involved I've been. So I'm feeling a lot more prepared and a lot more excited to talk about these guys as years passed.
Yeah, and I mean, usually the guys that get draft coverage are for all those like fantasy chuds. Like you got like the receivers, the running backs, maybe a tight end, but like thankfully like edge rushers matter, like defense matters, and all the time good pass rushers slip through the cracks because people just don't know who these guys are. So we are covering a pretty healthy amount today. But we talked pre-show, like this is one of the deeper classes of draftable guys in a while. Like there's no Will Anderson, there's no like Micah Parsons, but there's a lot of guys that I'm pretty interested in having on my team.
Yes, there are a lot of polarizing players, as we put it pre-show, because I think every year you could probably go on Twitter and look up a prospect's name and you'll find some chud gassing him up. I like that word. That word is good. And it's like, the player probably sucks, but there's always somebody. But this year specifically, it really feels like a lot of guys, it's either you're in or you're out, and there's really no middle ground. And it's going to be fun to really, really get into the weeds with some of them, especially being the edge rusher position, because, like you said, not as many people get into defensive players for XYZ reason. But this year last year was the running backs that was really the deepest class, but now the edge rushers kind of replaces it. So it'll be fun.
It will be.
So the way we're going to do this is we have a fancy PowerPoint that we're going to run through, and we're going to kind of flip on and off with our opinions for every player and then kind of converse, after the fact. But if you want to join the conversation, Discord link in the description, down below. You can talk about these players more with us. And we're going to kind of go in what's semi-consensus rank order of these players. These aren't how we agreed on how they should be ranked at all. We're just kind of going in an order that we thought, I guess, made sense. So we're going to start with the guy that everybody has ranked as edge 1, and that's Rueben Bain. And I personally was looking at Rueben Bain. He was the first player I watched this entire draft cycle. And the thought I had immediately was this guy is a legit grizzly bear. And he plays with so much sheer power. That should say top 10 pick, actually. I have a top 10 pick grade on him. And I thought of a player when I watched him that nobody really has mentioned yet, and that was Adrian Clayborn. And Adrian Clayborn, that if you didn't know, I didn't know before I did the research on it, he had this disease that basically deteriorated his shoulder strength. It was called Erb's palsy. So he went in the first round out of Iowa. And he didn't end up being, a 10-sack guy really, but there were feats of strength at times where it was like, my God, man, this dude is an absolute animal. And I think had he not been dealing with that disease, he would have been a freak at the NFL level on a consistent basis. But guy you could play inside and out. You're not pushing him out, on the run, in the run game, because he's so strong. There's really nothing that will stop him from getting to the football. And when you're as strong as he is, you might go to the outside a lot, but you'll just throw someone to the ground if they stop you and then get to the quarterback.
Yeah. And my favorite thing, like you said, a grizzly bear, like that was my first thought. It's like, this guy is a mammal, but like, it's not human. Like this guy is something else that's unnatural. And I am one of the people that I do think wingspan matters. I do think reach matters, but his hands are so good. And he is one exception where I think his arms being smaller kind of creates like more dynamite in his hands. Like it just creates better leverage. They just hit harder. Like he is really, really hard to get your hands on despite the reach issues because he's just so goddamn strong. Like you can't grip him. And I gave him a comp of Brandon Graham, which is a little bit more basic now. I've had this comp for like 7 months, so I'm not basic. I've had this for a while, but it's just like that short in stature. Like clearly, everyone would be pretty shocked if Rueben Bain ever becomes like a 17 sack guy. Like that might not be in the cards here, but like stout edge defender, interior versatility, and just a hot motor. Somebody that just is really annoying to block, despite maybe some like physical limitations with like pure athleticism and the length, like we'll talk about 1,000 times. But dude, there's just so many exceptions to that rule when it comes with power. And we'll talk about people where, they have limited reach and power, and that might be an issue. But the power from him is far and away some of the best I've ever seen from a rookie edge rusher.
It really is. And I think the whole length thing has also played to his benefit too, because you can't just be lazy and, maybe disengage on a block late to try and reach your hands on somebody running past you. Like he has to keep his legs and his feet moving to get in the way of a rush lane. And I felt like I watched a lot of reps where it's just like a hamster wheel with his legs, just moving, trying to get to his spot. Whether he's going to win the rep or not, he is trying to get himself in position where he is disruptive. And I think guys that are maybe a little bit longer, they might give up on a rep and just, throw their hands up in the air and try to bat the ball down. Or they'll try to, reach out with one arm and pull a ball carrier down. But instead, Bain might not be able to do that as well. But he has, in turn, I think, done a good job of always keeping that, like you said, motor hot and always being in a relevant place to make some sort of play. So, I mean, other than arm length, even if you want to consider that a ding, there's not much here to be concerned about. Like, this is high floor, high ceiling, and that's about as good as it can get.
Yeah, the reason I have him as an early to mid in like a general draft would just be the fact that I don't think he's probably going to be ever leading the league in sacks. Like that's just not like I don't ever picture like a Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett type guy, but I would almost quit scouting entirely if he ever becomes like a bad football player. Like I am so confident that Rueben Bain will be good. And I like what you said about the legs, because I've felt like a lot of the edge rushers in this class have like kind of lean lower bodies where like they can kind of get pushed around a little bit, but Rueben Bain might have like the thickest lower body on an edge rusher I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. Like the dude is just a thick ball of bear. And I think you'd be hard pressed to ever find somebody that was ever this strong, this mean, and kind of just this ready to come in and compete immediately. Like he's ready to be put on the Bengals tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you could comfortably get a couple, 8 to 10 sack seasons, but we're seeing like a unit transformed as far as run defense goes as well. So I think something that I'll kind of reiterate throughout the course of the episode with other players is that I feel like run defense on edge rushers can sometimes be a way of kind of a scapegoat, for lack of a better term, of trying to say that, he's just bad, but he's a good run defender. But no, actually, he's just bad. But in this case, it's like he is both, and he is such a good run defender that it's also just so great. Like, there's really nothing bad you could say about Rueben Bain. He's got some video game like highlights. So,
yeah, he kind of feels like a player like your dad would talk about from the 90s. Like, like he wasn't like built in a lab. Like he had to work for all of his power. But like, God, the dude he is like Bane, like actual like comic Bane, where he's not like the tallest, but the dude's just strong and just has piss and venom flowing through his veins at all time. Like he's just pissed off, and it's awesome.
I think he's going to be one of those guys that in year 4 or 5, finally he's like, you know what? I'm somebody in this league. I need one of those crazy face masks, and he just gets one of those iconic face masks, and then like we know Rueben Bain, like Justin Tuck type of thing. And he could be that next kind of force with aura.
Yeah,
as the kids say.
I agree. You're hip. You're real hip.
I know, right? Aren't you proud of me? We'll move on to our second player, Austin. Yes. Feel free. Take it away, Arvelle Reese.
Yes. So Arvelle Reese being in the edge category could be controversial to some because he's kind of in that like Jalen Walker-y bucket of edge linebacker hybrids. He played mostly off ball, but he did live on the corner there a lot, and a lot of his best pass rush wins came from the edge, just speed to power. So that's kind of where I gave him like a slimmer LeVar Arrington comp because he does play that in between of like linebacker and edge. He's tall, he's athletic, he's freaky strong despite kind of being leaner. I do still view him like I still think there is very much an off-ball path for him where just instead of third down coverage, I do like him to kind of creep up and rush. But the dude's a freak. From the off-ball position and from the edge position, he is an outstanding run defender. Like he can uproot a 330-pound lineman with general ease at times. Really good length, really good strength, really good motor, and really good range to the sideline. As a pass rusher, it's just pretty untapped. We saw a lot of success early, and it just kind of died down throughout the season, partially because of his usage. They kind of stopped letting him do that. So he's one of the most mind-bending players in the class because the sample size was so unbelievably small. But I still gave him an early to mid first. I think he's a really talented player that just has a lot of question marks around what he can do in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of the exact same sentiments. I had my comp as Jalen Walker, and this is because more so I project him to be more successful in the league as doing what Jalen Walker essentially is today. And we had a lot of the same conversations with him pre-draft, and I'm glad he's, turned into more of an edge rusher primarily at the NFL level. And I think this is where the path for Arvelle Reese is going to go. To me, it's just so tough because his tackling ability is bar none the best in the class, in my opinion. I mean, this guy is really, really good when it comes to making a tackle in the open field, in a gap. He's probably not going to miss. So it's like at times you're asking yourself, man, it would be awesome if he's, on the second level and he's having bodies cleared out of the way for him just to get to the ball carrier immediately, hands on. He doesn't have to beat anybody. But then there's more responsibility with that, being an off-ball player. And there were also times where I'm like, this guy has no feel for coverage. He's just standing there like guarding grass. And I think when it comes to playing zone coverage, we didn't see him play man much at all. And I think there was probably a reason for that. And at times, like I said, in zone coverage, you can teach it. You can tell a player where to stand, where you should be when you know the ball could be going to a certain area. But the bottom line is, to be a good zone coverage defender, you have to have feel. And I feel like that's something you can only develop to a certain extent. You just have to have. And yeah. I just at times didn't really see it with Reese. So I think for that reason, I would just rather him be going off the edge. Hopefully we get more consistency when it comes to, winning, pass rush reps, and then he could be in the backfield for tackles for loss. But it is tough when you see those open field tackles where he's just so rangy and you're like, man, if we can just have him in the middle of the field on that second level, like he'll be everywhere. And plays won't get more than 4 yards downfield with him at that level.
Yeah, I mean, earlier in the season especially, I think they did a pretty good job of having him off ball as well. In a better role for him. They had him in a lot of QB spies, and I thought that he was unbelievable at them because he had a really good trigger ability at the quarterback. It would just kind of eliminate that entire play. As a run defender, I think he takes on blocks great, edge and off ball. He looks lean. Like when you look at him, you're like, this guy's not that big. Like he's a tall, like strong guy, but like he's not built like Ray Lewis. Like he's not super wide, but he's just as strong as any linebacker prospect. Probably the strongest overall linebacker prospect I've ever watched, which is why I do feel pretty comfortable putting him at edge because he has pretty long arms. Like I think he's got 33 and some change, which is better than like half this edge class, to be honestly. And there are some like Jared Versey type moments on his tape where he doesn't have a lot of nuance, but he just converts speed to power so stupidly, like over and over again, where you're like, okay, like maybe we shouldn't overthink this. Maybe we can just have a guy that can bull rush and long arm his way into pockets 24/7. That sounds pretty good to me, especially when you pair it with the fact that he can drop, like as an edge rusher, he would be an elite coverage player, like not for an off ball, but as an edge, like if you can drop him into the flat, like he would probably be the best in the league at doing that just from the experience he has as an off ball. So I think there's a lot of really, really cool versatility moments for him, even if you do stick him just as an edge.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why people are putting him in, some pretty crazy conversations. Like he's supposed to go. I have not done much like prep as far as where players will end up going in the actual draft. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But as far as I know, this is going to be a top 5, maybe top 3 pick because of that versatility.
I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I think Ohio State has a couple guys that are going to go top 10, maybe top 5. He is one of the main popular names that is going number 2 overall to the Jets. So it's a hard pick. Like I've tried to mock it a million times. It's hard. I've done a lot of Rueben Bain, a lot of Arvelle Reese, a lot of the next guy I've seen recently in the next week or so. But yeah, I mean, even though he's raw, Reese is like, I do really, really like him. And I'm not usually a big fan of hybrids. Like he is kind of breaking that mold for me.
Yeah. I like the point you made about, playing in a QB spy role. And I think the same kind of thing could be said about, whatever type of pressure packages you could send with a guy like this. Like he's got that combination of speed and strength to where if you loop him from the outside, like he's probably blowing a guard up more often than not. And he's going to drive a guard into the quarterback, or he's just going to flat out beat a guard to the spot. So like the right coordinator could probably let this man unleash. Aaron Glenn. Yeah. Aaron Glenn's probably going to be fired by week 10. So I don't know if I would trust that so much. But we can't worry about that yet.
No,
that wouldn't be fair. The next player, another very polarizing one, and that's David Bailey. David Bailey is one of those guys to me where you're either, David Bailey pilled or you're like, yeah, nah. And I feel like I'm in the middle. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. But I've seen some people have some crazy conversations with Bailey. And I saw Bud Dupree here. Like, this is, to me, he's a situational pass rusher at best. Like, I just can't see with his stiffness and his lower body being effective against the run. Like, he's a freak athlete. I think this is the guy that we're going to see at the combine. He's going to blow the combine out of the water, and then, all of his supporters are going to be like, oh, my God, look at David Bailey go. It's like we already knew this was happening. Like, there were so many plays where he's legitimately, like, jumping out of the stadium, batting balls down. It's pretty crazy what he can do. He's so twitchy. He's so quick. He's powerful. It's just when you are built the way David Bailey is, I am worried about your ability to be an every down player. And that is, I think, a very justifiable concern given, the type of other players in this class as well. Like, I think seeing him near Bain is a pretty crazy thing to say.
I would agree with that. And I had a very similar idea with my comp as you. And I went with Yannick Ngakoue, where he's not very tall. He has some good upper body strength, good long arms. But like you said, like I'm kind of confused because a lot of people really think this is like a bendy pass rusher. But like I don't see it. I think he's actually one of the stiffest I watched, especially in his hips. I think that he does have, for a freaky first step, the best in the class. He's probably the most explosive out there. But when it just comes to like turning the corner on an NFL lineman, that's where I see it trouble translating. I think it's really easy to turn on the film and you're like, wow, David Bailey just won like 10 out of his last, 20 pass rush reps. Like, this guy's awesome. This guy's great. Because you see a lot of wins and you just kind of correlate to that to the NFL. But I just don't know if I do. Like, I think he played in a system that just allowed him to unleash. They attacked a lot. He didn't have to worry about run D whatsoever. Like, that was not even in his brain. They would take him off the field on obvious rundowns. Like, it was just not a thing that he was going to be doing. So I do worry about in the league. I worry about his leash. Like, I don't think they're just going to let him pin his ears back and rush the quarterback. And that takes away from your first step, which is his biggest weapon. So I could see him being a really good, designated pass rusher. Like, I could see him even having a couple 12 sack seasons in his career, but like the overall picture, I don't see him being a help on rundowns. I don't even see him like being a huge help on regular downs. Like, he's just kind of a guy I like on 3rd and long where we know we're passing. He'll be good there. Like, I think he's a good football player overall, but like, I think the hype has just got really crazy.
Yeah, a guy like David Bailey, I will give him credit. I think someone like him could he wins so fast sometimes. I think a pessimist would say he's just kind of running around people. But he does have a bag. Like, there is nuance to his pass rush approach. I think anytime when you have a quick first step like that, you automatically have the advantage. That goes without saying. But David Bailey has done a good job he throws a curveball in there every once in a while. Like, you don't know if he's going to dip inside. You don't know if he's going to spin. You don't know if he's just going to straight up run around the arc. Like, he does have different sort of approaches. And I'm not even sure if he really goes in with a plan, but it definitely throws off a lot of tackles, because if he was just flat out running around the arc, like, it would not have won as much as it did.
No.
But, with that said, it's just when linemen are bigger, they're stronger, they're faster at a different level. It makes me wonder where that transition is going to come from. Like, that's really the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
I still think, though, given this class, not only the edge rusher class, not only given this class as a whole, looking at every other position, seeing the flashes of David Bailey and being like, all right, like, I'll lose my job for this, fine. And you could the risk. If you're willing to accept it, then fine. But I wouldn't do it. I could see why someone would. I wouldn't.
Like, someone like Seattle, where like you have the interior guys to defend the run, and all you want to do is just create havoc. I think that would be perfect. But like, if you just plug David Bailey into like a base defense, you give him a lot of responsibility. Like, I don't see like what people are seeing with that. I think he requires more of a specialized role than people are acting like. I don't think you can plug him onto all 32 teams and get a multi-digit sack guy. Like, I think he's very specialized. And I think if he is going to the right team, I could very well see him being the best edge rusher in this class. But like, we're scouting, like, we're imagining him going to all 32 teams. Like, we that's all we can do. So if that's the case, I'm a little bit lower. Like, I would take him in the first, just because, like you said, what this class is, it's a weak class. So I would select him in the first round. But I think when we're talking like number 2 overall pick, that's where it gets weird for me. And
that is a debate. That's not like a reach. People are saying and suggesting such a thing.
I'm pretty sure
reputable people.
Daniel Jeremiah just had him second overall in his latest mock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
crazy.
That is crazy. But like you said, like a Seattle, like a Houston, like
he'd be great.
You threw him like anywhere. I don't give a fuck where he's lining up. But with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, and David Bailey, like, that guy would probably have 20 sacks. But
he would be amazing. Yeah.
You throw him on like the Raiders, it's like, all right, well, David Bailey, like, it's gonna go bad. Like, I could comfortably say that would not work.
Not scheme transcendent whatsoever. That's the problem.
Yeah, agreed, and that's okay. Like, it's not a knock, but it just is sometimes what it is.
Yeah, still a good player,
very much so.
But we can move on to our next guy, Keldric Faulk from Auburn. He's the first guy where he is a big, strong, powerful football player. So he is 6'5", 6'6", 280 pounds with pretty freakish length, 20 years old. And my entire opinion on him changed depending on what game I watched. Because kind of the opposite with David Bailey, Keldric Faulk was probably only allowed to rush the passer 15% of the time. More often than not, he was either in a 4-point stance lined up over like the guard, or he pretty clearly was like running contain and wasn't allowed to like really pin his ears back. But when I watched the Georgia game, they had him in a 2-point stance on the edge, like clearly rushing the passer. and he won like a good handful of times. And that game turned me, because I used to be pretty anti-Faulk, but watching him in like a full game of him actually rushing the passer, and he was using his length, and he actually had like a good rip move, and he was kind of bendier than I thought. Like, I saw a ceiling with this guy that kind of is like Carlos Dunlappy, where it's like good long physical run defender, nine sacks in your prime kind of thing. And that's worthy of a second round pick for me.
Yeah, that's really the consensus about Faulk right now. And when you look at, he's only 20, like he'll be 21 as a rookie. So that's, the big draw to him too, is like you see this freak with crazy measurables and these, quick wins, these flashes at such a young age. It makes you feel, excited. It's like, this is something that could be, who knows what he could be in 5 years, by the end of his rookie deal. Like, we could have a franchise edge rusher. I just, maybe I watched the wrong games. I must have, because I sat there, I'm like, man, I don't see it. I was very angry. Like, I fell asleep watching some of his tape. I really did. I'm like he'd line up two hands in the ground and he just would like stand there. I'm like, bro, like, come on, like, do something. It was so exhausting. And there were a couple reps where it's like, wow, he just instantly won. Like, where is that? And maybe I'm not giving enough credit to the role he played and the responsibilities he was given. Maybe I'm too inexperienced to take that into account. I just, like, there were just times where it looked like he wasn't even like trying to move. And there were concerns like with Jared Ivey to some extent with stuff like that, like off the field, like effort problems. And maybe I just got upset because I was just so bored. And I'm like, I don't even think this guy's trying anymore. Maybe I have to rewatch him. But I think this is one of those players where people talk about his run defending ability. And as I was mentioning earlier, I'm like, yeah, well, how much does that matter? Like, how much is a good run defending Keldric Faulk really helping a defense? How much of an impact is he really making? Because I'm a Bills fan. Greg Rousseau's run defending ability is supposed to be his best trait. We give up 250 yards on the ground every game. Okay, the same thing with TJ Watt. The year before, he had this massive fall off, but he's still a good run defender. Fuck if I care. What did that do for Pittsburgh? Nothing. So, like, there are examples of this where it's the opposite, of course, and you can do this. You can play this game with anything, but at Keldric Faulk's ceiling, with the player he appears to be today, in 5 years, I don't care if he's only 20. If in 5 years you're still looking at a limited ceiling type of player, I would feel just as comfortable drafting someone that's 25, that's a lot more polished, regardless of the age, because I'm like, okay, maybe I get 3 or 4 years of a higher ceiling, even if I have to, wait 5 years with the hope Keldric Faulk becomes more of something.
Yeah, that actually is very true, because there are 25-year-olds in this class, multiple of them, like numerous of them. This is probably the oldest class I've ever seen. So to get someone like Keldric Faulk, where you're like, wow, this guy just turned 20 like 2 months ago, like, that's pretty impressive. And I do get that weird feeling of like, and it was very deja vu. I was like, where have I seen this before? So I looked up who their defensive coordinator was, and I was like, oh shit, this is DJ Durkin. This is the same guy that ruined every freaking Texas A&M defensive end prospect. Like, I was like, this guy is a Texas A&M player. I was like, I've seen this a million times, and I look and I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy. Because all he does is just contain pressure from the inside. Like, that is all they do. Because when I first watched him, I think it was like Missouri or Arkansas, I was like, this is not a good player. Like, this guy's boring. Yeah. I saw the same shit where I was like, he just plays contain. Like, he just comes up, puts two hands on you. He doesn't give up ground. Like, he just kind of like holds his ground and holds you up. And they try to funnel the pressure through the interior. That's just what they do. But like, I was moved when I saw the game where they stopped doing that bullshit and they let him be an edge rusher for like the first time. Like, there were games he was playing nose. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, right. Like,
he's 280 pounds. He's 20 years old. Why is he playing nose? But from everything I've heard about the guy, like, he was a team captain, like, probably he's a workout warrior. Like, he's setting records in the weight room. Like, he is a very hardworking, well-liked guy that like will never have a character concern. He will not have one of these DUIs or anything like that. So yeah, he's the kind of guy that, like, I am willing to bet on the development. Like I don't think we're ever going to see 13 sacks. I don't think that's the case. But another thing that I really like with run defending is it's not even like what it brings the team, it's what it brings him, and that's just opportunities. Like,
yeah,
they will get you on the if you can defend the run. Like if you go to the Kansas City Chiefs, I promise they're starting Faulk over David Bailey. They hate edge rushers that can't defend the run. They won't touch the field. That's why they go after like Karlaftis and other guys that are like limited pass rushers that are just like good run defenders that are like 260 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if Faulk can go to a team like that, I think it'll at the very least give him more opportunities, and that's how we'll really see development.
That is fair. That is very fair, because we're not going to see much over the next 4 or 5 years if he's not on the field. And
yeah,
as far as development goes, like you said, being a good run defender, just like being a good special teamer, being able to do the dirty work, that is how you ultimately earn reps. So that is a fair point, because if we were looking at David Bailey, but a lot less polished or a lot less, I guess, productive, they're like, yeah, but what if he just sucks against the run and then he's never on the field and then he's never developing? Like, that would be the inverse of that. So that is a very fair point. It's just
he's a tricky one, because he was one where, like, at first I wanted to say like fourth. I was like, this guy sucks. And then I watched him again, and there were some flashes where I was like, wow, this guy's probably the second best edge in the class. And then it was just like, it just totally depended on what rep and what game I saw, because God, the flashes are there. And like, I think he has the character and the mindset to get there. Whereas a lot of these other like big developmental 5-stars are just like, they have 5-star syndrome and they never feel like getting better, and they just be big for the rest of their lives and suck at football. But like, yeah. I do think Faulk is better, especially than what Twitter is saying, like where he's just like the worst prospect ever. Yeah. I think he's just as good, if not better, than Micah Williams, who I was lower on. I also had like a second round grade on him, but I think that's like your floor, I think, is Michael.
Yeah, it very well could be. And it would be interesting to see if those two guys were in the same class, especially given how young Faulk is, too. I think that would throw an interesting wrench in that conversation. I think somebody will definitely swing on him. I think I would definitely see late day 2 before early day 3, regardless of my grab, just because of how big and how young he is. Like that enough will get him drafted probably at least round 3, if not, somewhere in the 4th.
Even if he was like completely awful and incapable of anything, those measurables alone have gotten people drafted really high.
Yes.
There's always a couple teams that have like huge, like that's a big Lou Anarumo thing. Like if you're tall and long and strong, like first round, like get your bags ready. Like you're coming with us, like kind of thing. So he's a Colt in the second round if he's not anything. But well, I think he'll go in the end of 1.
You think he'll go that early? That's what people were saying. That's what people were saying originally when I was watching him. So
I think he's a better prospect than Myles Murphy was, and Myles Murphy went in the first in a good class. Like I think he's very much a first round picked player.
Yeah, he probably will be, given everything else that goes into it.
Yeah.
Who's next year? I don't even know.
Big TJ Parker.
TJ Parker. So TJ Parker. This is a player to me. Let me pull up my sheet. I don't remember exactly everything I wrote down. TJ Parker to me was somebody that another guy that people, I think for the most part, feel pretty similarly about. I haven't seen too many outlandish opinions about TJ Parker, good or bad. He's another young player. He's very strong. He's just not going to get washed out in the run. Another guy that you can trust to be on the field on those early downs that isn't just going to get shoved out of the way and be a complete net negative. I think just as a pass rusher, there were just some concerns from, the first step just did not seem to be there. And I think even if it was a simple chip, or if he's just thrown off his path a little bit, he's just not going to be able to have enough strength to end up getting to the tackle, reestablishing himself, and attempting to win after getting thrown off his course. So I think with TJ Parker, though, you're getting a safe player. This is, I think, what you're ultimately getting. And some people hate that. Some people love that. I think ultimately you're looking at a day 2 guy, though, comfortably.
Yes. Yeah. He's been all over the place in terms of like public perception, because preseason people were like, this guy might go top 10. And
Really?
then the beginning of the year tape was worse. And it was like, wow, this guy might be a day 3 player. And then he got better at the end of the season. But a lot of that was very similar with really every Clemson player. Every single one, like literally every single Clemson prospect got worse except for one. So it was kind of maybe a thing with scheme. I don't know. I think he lacks any kind of like dynamicness to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's not super long. He's not like too stubby. He's like 6'3". I think he's got like 33-inch arms. He's like really sufficient at everything. I think, and what I've tried to really hammer home lately is that like I do think power is the single most translatable skill to the NFL. Like you have all like very rarely do we see these like Caleb Chase on guys come into the league and immediately make an impact. It took him like almost 5 years to make a name for himself because he was just so weak. So I comped him to more of like a recent Bradley Chubb. Early Bradley Chubb before injuries was very explosive, very big. So now that he's kind of gotten more injured, he kind of plays more like TJ Parker, where he still wins with power. He plays with leverage pretty well. Good long arm, good bull rush. I think that I don't think anyone will ever regret drafting him on day 2. Yeah. But I don't think we're ever going to tell our kids like, yeah, I was there when TJ Parker got drafted. Like, I very much just think he will be a solid edge 2 on a team, maybe an edge 3 on a good team. And he'll make positive impacts. I think he'll help push the pocket. I think he won't get moved in the run game. He's a good football player all around. And I don't see him developing much past what he is right now, but that's cool because he's a good player. And I draft good players when I find them. So I gave him like a late 2, maybe an early 3, but I would definitely take him in like the second round in this draft class.
Yeah, I mean the thing with TJ Parker, I think part of the reason why I didn't just remember everything I thought about TJ Parker when he came up on the screen is just because he just doesn't really have a calling card, it feels like. And that's not a bad thing, although reading back some of what I wrote down, one thing he did have that kind of popped out was he was forcing a lot of fumbles, right? I think didn't he have like 6 forced fumbles his junior year or something like that?
He had a good bit.
Like,
yeah.
He has some high awareness around the football. And I think that was where my Jordan Jenkins comp came in, because Jordan Jenkins had, I think, like 7 or 8 seasons in the NFL. He, I think, had like 2 forced fumbles and 3 and had 1 in almost every single season. And a lot of recoveries on top of it too. So you're not going to get, just like Jenkins, a 10+ sack guy. Maybe once you might, but you're looking at like a 4 to 8 sack player that you hope consistently is able to defend the run, and then maybe he turns into a turnover freak. Maybe somewhere along the line.
Yeah, like he seems like one of those guys that's just going to be like a couple years in the league, 83 overall in Madden, like solid football player. Like I've seen Derrick Morgan as a comp. Like that feels like the kind of guy that like we'll remember him down the line, but we're not going to be like he won't have a jersey in the crowd outside his family. Like it's just going to be like good, solid role player. But we take those. We just don't want guys that are going to be phased out of the league in a year. Like we are trying to eliminate busts here, especially on day 2. Like we're just looking for good, solid football players to round out my football team. I don't need anything crazy, but man, I like him. I like him way more than I used to, but still, like I'm not, sipping the Kool-Aid. I'm right in the middle on him, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think I saw much of anything different at this point, I should say. Like I really, as far as my research goes, like prior to where everything is currently now, it's, not as invested, if you will, but I think right now most people are like, yeah, TJ Parker, he's fine. And that's probably most of it. It's probably most.
The smallest scouting report of all these guys that I have.
Yeah, right.
Strong, good, fine, whatever.
Next, we have Cashius Howell, one of the more polarizing guys in this class. And I watched him, and I almost came away thinking he was like this year's Mike Green. Like there were reps where I'm like, damn, like he's quick off the ball, so fast out of his stance. He can hit you with a a crazy spin move. He's strong. There is just a variety of pass rush moves that go into it. Like there were some Mike Green reps at Marshall where I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know like a human his build can move like that.
Yes.
And that's kind of like some of the reps I saw from Howell. Although, just kind of a theme with him and other players that we have talked about, we will talk about. When you're this build, when you're 6'2", 249, 250, you are going to have concerns about getting washed out in the run. And that is just what happens when you're on the defensive line. If people don't think you can stand your ground, then people probably will be a little bit afraid of you. And while he doesn't have character concerns or, allegations against him, I'm not sure. Like with Mike Green, to me, there was such a high pass rush ceiling that I was able to, I guess, forego the allegations, which I guess a year later, not for Mike Green's sake, but with other players, probably wouldn't be a good idea. But B, like even if I had run concerns, which I really didn't with Green, if I remember correctly, I was willing to forego that. With Cashius, I just don't think the pass rush ceiling is high enough, is where I'm at.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like I think, and I comped him to like a younger Jerry Hughes, where he's kind of like a short, stout, and he's strong, but he was undersized coming in and kind of had to gain a little bit of size later in his career. But I think, like as I'm talking about it, like I see a perfect Nick Herbig role, where like you come in on obvious passing downs, but you are legit. You have bend, you have explosiveness, you have power. Everything that he could possibly do, he has done. Unfortunately, he is just physically limited, being like he's built like a will linebacker, like off ball, playing on the backside. Like that's what he's built like, and it's sad because he is tenacious. He is full of piss. Like he just really wants to sack you, and he has some of the best highlight sacks in this class. And he actually does have a pretty strong lower body for his build. Like he looks like he could run the ball, like and be a running back. Like he has a good butt on him, but overall, like, I just don't see how a guy that's like 6'1", like maybe 6'2", 240 something I think he's sub 31-inch arms. I think he's like, people talk about him as like 30-inch arms, which would be historically small. And if that's the case, like, I think that he could break the mold and be a good rotational pass piece, but like a Herbig. But if we're talking about a guy that's going to play on, all three downs and be worthy of a first round pick, that's where I'm not quite in. I have him as maybe like a late 2, early 3 is kind of where I'm feeling on him. And I think he'll be a solid player in the league. But I think he's just way too small.
Yeah, that's really the bottom line. Something I wrote down, and as I'm remembering back, I felt like a lot of his wins were just around the arc more often than not. And I think that had me questioning like there weren't those like crazy feats of strength that at times we saw with a Mike Green, for example. And I think that's also where some of my worry comes in, where it's like if you get a tackle that, he knows what Cassius Howell's, tendencies are and, what his crutches look like. I fear that this is a player that, you can easily shut down if we don't have some development, whether it is in the weight room or if it is with, pass rush plans. I don't know. There's just too many red flags, I guess is the point.
Yeah, and it sucks because I really like him. Like he's the kind of guy that I will go to bat for, and like I will defend, despite being I am lower on him than consensus by like a good margin. Pretty sure consensus has him like 20th overall.
Wow.
And that's also just a testament to the class as well. Like, but like he's just so much fun, and I think that he has the personality. Like he does everything that like he possibly can. It's just physically limited.
Yeah, absolutely. Next is Malachi Lawrence. Yeah. This is one of your guys I know, so I'll let you take him down first.
Yeah, I've been on Malachi Lawrence for a while out of UCF, and he is really freaking fun. And he is one of the only guys in this class where if he gets off the bus, you're like, yeah, that guy's a football player. Like he's not 6'2". Like you don't have to do any imagining. He's not 6'1". He has pretty long arms. He has sufficient strength. Like, you don't have to squint and see how he's going to immediately impact a football team. The only real negatives I have is I wish that he played to his strength a little more in the run and even as a pass rusher. But like, he's built to play in the league, and that's why I gave him Josh Sweat as my comp. Or like, he has the length, he has the pass rush. Like, early Josh Sweat needed just a couple years of getting stronger before he became like a legit impact football starter. And I think that's going to be Lawrence. Like, he's very explosive. He has good size. He's not super bendy. I wish he was a little bendier, but like, he has a good pass rush bag. He still gets around the edge, and he can beat you across your face. Like, he just feels like a really good, almost like the edge rusher that checks the most boxes in this class.
Yes, absolutely. And I think when you like, there's no part of Lawrence's game where I'm all too concerned. Like, I do have some worry about him getting pushed off the ball and bullied on the ground, but he is built, I think, to be able to overcome those things. And he, to me, my comp was Jalix Hunt. I feel like Jalix Hunt was a lot less refined from what I looked back on it and was understanding. Lawrence, I feel like there is just a lot more to his game, a lot more violent with his hands. I think he, like you said, got a very deep bag of pass rushing moves. And with Jalix, I still feel like we're trying to get to the peak of that mountain. But for Lawrence, it's like, visually speaking, if we're on the same mountain, Lawrence is already starting, I think, almost probably near where Jalix Hunt kind of is now, I would say. Like, I don't think I'm blown away by Jalix Hunt nowadays. Like, Malachi Lawrence, I think, can come in and be just as impactful as Jalix Hunt is already.
I think that's not crazy to say at all. I think that he could come in and immediately be a team's second best pass rusher. Mm-hmm. I don't even think he has to rotate all of that much. Like, obviously, like, you don't want him, setting every edge and trying to be like a super impactful run defender from day one. But like, I don't think he's getting lost. Like, I don't think that like you have to pull him because he's getting bullied so bad. Like, yes. I think that there are flashes where his power is really good. So I think it's just a technique issue as of right now. Like, I think that he has the power in him because there are times where his hands look like dynamite. And there are times where like he can convert speed to power at a really high level. It's just inconsistent. Really, everything with him is a little inconsistent, but he has flashes of everything. And the inconsistencies are through the game. Like, he's not like you watch him in game one and he sucks. You watch him in game two, he's great. He has reps throughout the game where you're like, oh, that was okay. And then, one play later, he knocks the quarterback's helmet off. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, this guy rocks. Like, I have him as an early second. I saw you have a first round grade on him. I love that.
Yes.
Because I think that
switch to your,
no, you're good.
Anyway.
You're great because like I'm pretty high on him with an early second. To have a first round grade on him is pretty sick because I have not seen that from anybody. So, but I like it. Like, he fits the mold of an NFL edge rusher. I don't see what there is to not fully like.
Agreed. And there are not many of these in this class either. So I'm sitting here asking myself, like, when it comes to which of these players I would draft where, who, of course, has the higher ceiling, has a decent floor, but who, like you said, checks most of the boxes. And I think this is, I remember before I even started watching edge rushers, you and Walter were talking about, you brought up Malachi Lawrence and you were like kicking around the idea of him being edge too. And when I went and watched him, I'm like, that's not really even that insane. Like, I came across other guys that I came to like more, but there's a vision here. There is translatable. Yeah. There's a lot of something you said. I don't know what you said verbatim, but basically how you can project them to the NFL is a lot of what goes into your analysis, of course. And Malachi Lawrence is one of those guys that even if you don't see some parts of his game now, there are so many promising features of his build and the flashes that he's put on tape that it's like, I have no problem thinking it couldn't happen. So,
yeah. But he was one where when I first put him on, I was like, this guy fucking sucks. Like, when I first put him on, I was like, I thought this was the worst player in the world. Then I was like, oh, he's number 51. I was watching number 9 for like 30 minutes. And I was like, this guy's awful, dude. How is he on the field? And then I was like, oh my God, they gave the ugly number to the good player. Because sometimes I like to log on and just find the player. Because I'm like, if he's good enough, I'll find him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started realizing like, oh, like number 9's like 6'5", slim, athletic stance, athletic. But I was like, wow, he's really weak. I was like, wait, wrong guy. Okay, 51 can play. I like this guy a lot.
Yes, I do too. And I think out of all of the guys in this class, you can almost like throw a lot of players in this class in buckets together. And he's probably he to me is in that tier 2 of edge rusher bucket, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Sure. In any draft, not even just this one. Like I think he always would be in that.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I wish I started this sooner and I could comfortably say the same thing, but I can't. I won't be a fraud.
Well, and our next guy, I think that we can let you handle this one because I know this is one of your guys, so you should. Stick to yours here.
Yes, Zion Young. Leave it to me to like the one guy that potentially has off the field problems, but Zion Young. This is my guy. I don't have a list of my guys yet, but it's gonna start to build and accumulate. But this is one of them. Zion Young has the measurables. He's a big human. He is strong. He's a great run defender, but there is every little bit of what you need to be a high-end disruptive in the backfield pass rusher consistently. And that's all I really saw. Like, there were not many reps where I'm like, where's Zion? Where'd he go? I usually saw him making something happen somewhere. And even if he didn't necessarily, push somebody into the quarterback, or if he didn't get his hands on a running back, he forced somebody in a position where it threw the timing off of something, or, he just made the ball maybe not go out on time, and then the ball, the pass was completed, and it didn't go for extra yards. It went for maybe 4 instead of 6 or 7 because the ball got out late. I don't know, just something where Zion Young was involved. He was making it happen. Like, the violent hands are there. He's got bend. He's got counter moves. Like, it's not like he's just running around people. So he throws people around. He stands his ground. And I was really asking myself, like, who does this remind me of? And I don't like to get too crazy, but really it's like at its ceiling, I think this could be Max Crosby. And I feel so confident in saying that he will reach it and it will be that type of player. Like, that is what I see in Zion Young.
Yeah, he's one that's hard for me because he was one where I felt like he was game to game. And there were some where I was like, man, this guy is not that good. Like, he's not moving. And then some where I was like, wow, like this guy, even not even watching him, when you just look at him and you watch him play one snap, you're like, yeah, easily can project to the NFL. Like, he has, like you said, the NFL measurables, NFL power. He's freaky strong. He has good length. He is an outstanding run defender. The only thing I had trouble with was the pass rush because sometimes when he was faced with another like big Stonewall-y type tackle, it was just a stalemate. But he was another one where I kind of realized it after I even gave my grade, but I was like, I do think that he is somewhat impacted by scheme as well, similar to Faulk, where like some games they let him unleash, they let him attack, and he is really impressive. And then some games I was like, man, I don't think he's gotten a pressure in like a quarter. But that's kind of why I gave him Calvin Pace as a comp, which is not an insult if anyone remembers Calvin Pace. Like, he was a very solid player in the league that I think had a couple double-digit sack seasons. Like, he was definitely a good football player. He was big, strong, and I don't think Zion's overly like he's just not very bendy. He's not very fluid. He's not very explosive off the line, but what I think he has is a motor. And that can kind of almost look like explosiveness because he's just trying so goddamn hard. And I will always appreciate that because in the NFL, a lot of sacks aren't sexy. They're not ghost moves. They're not like clean rip moves in 1.8 seconds. It is coverage sacks. It's who has the motor and the power to just keep running, keep coming, and clean up. So I could see a world where he could develop a little bit better and become a really good football player. Where I'm at him, I said third round. I would take him in the second because there is that run D ceiling that I think could get him onto the field, and then I think he could develop probably by the end of his rookie contract into I think he could be a pass rusher. Like, it's just I think the film didn't show it as much, but I do think with the traits he has, and then when he went to the Senior Bowl, he also dominated everyone there. I think he won like Senior Bowl defensive MVP. So like clearly, like he can play with the big boys, and he is a really good football player.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this one projects. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on him extra hard when he gets up there. But yeah, there are some of those things that I saw as well. Like I described him as a lumbery player, the change of direction at times. You know, I'm like, all right, I probably could have turned a little bit faster than he just did. And that's what happens when you're kind of built like that. You're not going to be, not everybody can be Myles Garrett, but he does still. I think the speed to power too. I wrote down was inconsistent. Like there were definitely plays where, like, all right, maybe I could have seen a little bit more there, but maybe I just watched the right games. Like I don't know. I watched 3 games per player. That was my method.
Yeah,
and a lot of the players I was watching the games that I felt like were against better competition, at least from a team perspective. And I just never felt like I had a moment where I went a long period of time but while being bored. I think a good gauge while watching film is like, how long am I bored for? If there's something that gets me out of my chair, I'm excited, I'm hyped, that's what keeps me invested. But when I'm watching Keldric Faulk and I'm sitting there for a stale 45 minutes, like waiting for something to happen, like it's hard. But with Zion, it's like there were breaks in that stale period frequently. Like I never felt bored watching Zion Young. Mm-hmm. And I think from a just a pure human entertainment standpoint, that could be a good way just to watch players from sometimes. Like if you notice him, he's doing something, he's probably doing something good.
Yeah, and I do think there is a higher ceiling for him in the NFL than he had in college. Like, I think he'll be really fun. I'm excited to watch him because he at least has, compared to some of the other guys that we have, he's got real traits, like real NFL high end traits, whereas some, and we'll get into that.
We sure will. Who's next? Does he fit? Oh, he does. Someone does fit that mold.
I saw who was coming next.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. R. Mason Thomas. He was probably the one that I had by far the hardest time with, because when we talk about somebody being bored with their tape, I wasn't bored for 10 seconds. He is. And when I talk about edge rushers, I think of 2 different types. There are guys that they're the bosses. Like they dictate how the entire game goes. They are on the field the entire game. And then there are the henchmen. I think R. Mason Thomas is a henchman. He's a goon where he's not going to be there the entire time. He's probably, to me, only a third down guy, but he is super explosive. And the ways that he wins are really fun because he pops the quarterback. Like I kept envisioning him in a base defense and I was like, wow, no, this cannot happen. And then I imagined him, like you said, on Houston or Seattle, like somewhere where they do pin their ears back and attack. And I'm like, wow, I could see him like getting 3 sacks in a Super Bowl, causing a bunch of forced fumbles. Like it was a wrestle in my head. So I went with someone like Bryce Huff. And Bryce Huff is kind of the perfect analysis for this because he is so inconsistent based on what team he goes to. Like when he has to play a little bit more base, when he has to go play some run D, it's not good, like at all. But then when you allow him to pin his ears back and just be a pass rusher, that's where he finds success. And I think that R. Mason Thomas could have a pretty similar career where some years he has sacks, some years he doesn't. It just kind of entirely depends on how he's used.
That is a very good way to put it. Like you see a guy like R. Mason Thomas, and I envision a player that, like, if you put him, I feel like with the Ravens, I feel like we might not ever hear from him again. I don't know. Like that's kind of the feel I get from R. Mason Thomas. I put him down as a Yannick Ngakoue comp, which I guess would be a higher ceiling than what my grade would project him to end up being. But there were just a lot of reps where I saw him, like, even if he didn't immediately explosively get around the edge or, blow someone over, he just was like pinballing off of people and like trying to find his way to the quarterback no matter what. Like there was a fantasy creator a couple of years ago that got destroyed on TikTok because he called, who was it? He called Dameon Pierce a tryhard. And everyone's like, "What do you mean a tryhard? It's
I
his
remember
job."
that.
Like,
Yeah,
like you're
better
an
than
asshole.
lazy.
Yeah, right. It's like our Mason Thomas, I guess, would be the tryhard type.
I
Like,
had the exact same thought watching him. I was like, of all things, he refuses to be blocked, and I like that. Like he hates it. Like he's kind of like a little wrestler that might not be the best, but he hates being pinned, and he won't let it happen. Like he will he'll be grunting and like screaming, trying to make it not happen. That's kind of our Mason Thomas. Like he doesn't like being blocked. Like if the initial surge blocks him, he doesn't just take it and then just like stop running. He'll go inside and he'll run back outside. And he's just trying to make something happen. So in a rotational role in this class, again, I would take him round 3 because there is the athleticism. I think there is the high ceiling of turnover forcing and forcing fumbles and explosive splash plays. But I just don't see a guy that can play more than like 35-40% of his team snaps.
No, I don't think so either. And I feel like this is one of those guys because the more I, read about him and hear people talk about him, like everyone loves him. Like no one dislikes our Mason Thomas. And I'm like, was I an asshole? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. This could go so bad. Like the R. Mason Thomas experiment is like almost who was it last year? Poop Hall, the Poop Hall experiment. Everybody loved Poop Hall. Well, yeah, we didn't like Poop Hall, but everyone and their mother loved Poop Hall. We're like, dude, he's just too small. And now Poop Hall is, wherever Poop Hall is. And this is how I feel like that can go.
And that's why I've secretly been wrestling with R. Mason Thomas here. Cause I'm like, God, like, I don't want to be like the dummy that like, if he goes to an attacking scheme and he plays his ass off and plays great, like for a team like that, I would take him day 2, 100%. But if we're talking again, base defense, like your run keys and like standing your ground, like he's short. He has a thinner lower body and his arms aren't long. He's built like an off-ball linebacker, but like he just plays so goddamn hard and he's so like energetic and fun. Like I found it impossible not to at least be super entertained. The entire Oklahoma defense, honestly, like the whole lot of them.
Right.
So I like him. I could potentially take him 3rd round if that's my team style. If we're the Bengals or like the Bills, I'm probably not taking him till like probably like you said, like mid day 3.
I don't know why this just happened to cross my mind, but like I know he's not that, but Miles Jack was, a smaller type of player. I'm like thinking of how I remember Miles Jack. I don't think he rushed the passer much at all.
No, he was.
I remember correctly.
He was off-ball and running back in college, at least.
Yeah. Like I almost feel like if he just, spent his time just suddenly like, what, maybe I'll just go do that. Like I think he'd be a better version of himself in a Miles Jack role than he would be
possibly,
playing at edge. Like really, like they're the same height, they're kind of the same weight, at least they were.
Yeah.
And I don't fiery, explosive, like they're aggressive. I just don't. Yeah, on the edge, I'm fearful that some big human just grabs him and throws him a lot.
That will happen. Yes.
Yes. Especially it already was happening in college. Like now, oh man.
If you're getting blocked by like Missouri's, like left guard that won't play in the NFL, like that's a problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be one of those things. Like, man, like you really hate to see that. You really do because everyone loves him. But
yeah, I love him. But I just fringe day 2, day 3 guy for me. As are a lot of these guys.
Do you want to take Gabe Jacas to start?
Sure. Yeah, he's a guy kind of similar ideology where he is bigger, he's way stronger, he's heavier, and he's got more length. Like I think he's got like a pair of 33s on him. So it's a little bit different, maybe 32s, but he's easily the easiest guy to find on the field because he is constantly shaking. Like I don't know if you noticed that when he's about to rush, he is like hyperventilating, foaming at the mouth, ready to go. And he pass rushes like it. Like he's kind of another kind of one of those pinball-y, very aggressive, athletic edge rushers. Against the run, I still don't think he's amazing. Like he doesn't have the length for it, but he doesn't get moved quite as often. I think a lot of his run Ds are more stalemates, where he kind of just holds his ground and tries his best, plays with effort. The biggest issue I had was he's kind of dumb.
Yes. Thank
yes.
you. Yes.
Yes. Where I don't know, sometimes that can be coaching. Where sometimes they teach on play fakes and everything. Like, just go get the running back, attack the running back, attack this guy, and then this guy will cover the quarterback. Sometimes that happens. So I don't want to just like assume that I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because I remember even playing where like they were like the defensive ends were taught, if it's an option, like you got running back, this guy got quarterback. So I don't want that to be like a thing. But like on play fakes and options and like any kind of like boot play, like he was going after the running back the entire time. Like that's just what it was. Like the quarterback would run right by him. Like it's almost like he had no idea. So that was not ideal. That was not ideal at all. But everything else, I actually really enjoyed his tape. I thought it was a really fun watch. I think I would take him probably towards the end of round 3 if I do play in more of an attacking scheme. But I do see a world where he can play some base too.
Yeah, I agree with almost everything you said. Like Gabe Jacas to me I enjoyed Gabe Jacas watching him because he plays at 100 miles per hour every single play. Like this is another guy you can almost classify as a tryhard, but I think a tryhard more so it's like kind of a nerdy, smart, like really trying his best type of person in my mind. Whereas like this is like a psycho. Like Gabe Jacas to me is kind of nuts. Like this dude is running literally through a brick wall every time he's running. And it was so funny to me. Like I'm sitting there in my work cubicle watching him and I'd see a read option and he would just not even think about it. Just sprint the wrong way at 100 miles per hour. And the amount of times I saw that happen, I'm like, you can make a highlight reel out of this alone.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
it's
so
annoying because everything else was so fun. It's just like, dude, where are you going?
But out of like, he's one of those guys that, toward the end of my edge rusher watch, you got to the Derrick Moores, right? You got to the Josh Josephs, the Dani Dennis Sutton, the Gabe Jacas. Like he is like the one I feel the best about out of that bucket. And like you said, it is just a lot of traits. There's a lot of stuff that the stuff you worry about is stuff you hope you could fix. It really might be just he's dumb, but like he's got the attitude. He's strong. He's fast. Like clearly athletic. Like you can have him inside. You can have him wide. Like he can win anywhere. I feel like this could be one of those. I feel like Gabe Jacas out of everybody in this class, he will go later. But I think this is one we'll look back on and we're like, wow, that was a steal. Like this is really one of those players that maybe we just didn't evaluate correctly because he's outplaying his investment massively.
Yeah, I think he's a henchman still, but like he's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just so glad you said that because it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. Just the way he just like literally full sprint at the wrong person. I've never seen anything like it.
No.
Oh man. Who's next here? Oh, I'm taking this one. Sorry. Akheem Mesidor. We, out of all prospects on this list, this is probably the one Oz and I disagree with the most. Akheem Mesidor, to me, I had a moment where I'm like, are we sure he's not edge 1? Now, of course, I pulled that back. But he was for quite a bit until Zion Young came along, my edge 2. And this is just, just as much of a game wrecker as Rueben Bain is. Like, these two guys did each other so many favors. And I don't know. I see super active hands. He can win with strength around the arc. He can win on the inside. Obviously, he's not the most explosive guy ever. Obviously, he's older. Obviously, there's some measurement concerns, but just another high motor guy that I trust to not get blown away on the ground, that I know, at worst is an extremely good edge 2. Extremely good. And I even wrote down, like, we don't know what Rueben Bain is without Akheem Mesidor. And the same thing can be said about Akheem Mesidor. Like, I think both of those guys at the NFL level, to maximize what you saw at like Miami's level, will need that counterpart. And I think there are a lot of guys in the NFL currently who desperately need this sort of companion. And that, for me, for a lot of teams, would be worth reaching for some people. And that's why I comfortably, this is a first round guy. This is somebody that I could see going in. I think the only reason why he won't be a top 20 pick is purely because of his age.
Yeah. He's another guy to me where like I felt like I was almost hating, but like I didn't think I was at the same time, where I was like, when I watch guys like Gabe Akheem or guys like, Malachi Lawrence, like I feel like these guys are on kind of similar levels to Mesidor. It's just Mesidor, I think, he played very well in a lot of really big games. Yeah. And I think that got him a lot of help. I do think playing with Rueben Bain does help, because there's a lot of attention on that big grizzly bear over there. And Mesidor is good. I think I almost think he's, I felt he was more explosive than you even gave him credit for. Like, I think he does move well. I think he just does everything sufficiently. Like, I think he's a strong man overall, but I just really worry how that's going to translate into the NFL, because I don't think he's overly like a huge speed to power guy as much as he tries to be. I think a lot of his best wins are just kind of like inside moves, like a lot of them, like mostly inside moves. Where I think that his athleticism just kind of freaked out some guards, and he did beat a lot of guards.
Yeah.
But I worry about the translation, because he's one where like the tape is so easy to love because you were never bored. Like I think he shot a lot of gaps. He won a lot of times. Like he had a lot of wins on his tape. But then I just imagined him going against like Amarius Mims. And I was like imagining him going against guys that clearly are physically better than him. And I was like, I just don't know. Like, I don't think that the hands will translate. I don't think he's strong enough to make up for having like almost 31-inch arms. I think he probably has.
Yeah, they're shorter.
Yeah, like they're maybe like they're almost Rueben Bain level, but I don't think that he has like the physical traits to quite make up for it. So I think he's probably like a rotational guy. And then like another thing, I was just like, like who looks like him like in the NFL right now? Like who is old with an injury history and short with short arms and isn't overly fast or crazy strong? It's just like I think he's just like sufficient at everything, but I don't think he's like overly amazing at anything. Like not one trait where I'm like, yeah, he's gonna use that speed all game on this guy, or he's gonna overpower Amarius Mims today. Like I don't quite see that too much, but I do think he's a good football player. And that's where I have him as a 3rd round pick, kind of like an Olivier Vernon back when he had like a really good season once or twice, but more often than not, he was kind of just like a solid edge 2 in the league.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see a lot of those concerns. Something that I even wrote down as a pro was, he has an impressive ability to me to like, just like slip and get skinny and like find his way through gaps. Like that is how he won a lot of reps. Like he's a good lateral mover. He's got good footwork. Like he is like what you expect from a 25-year-old. Like all of the things that I worried about with Tyler Shuck, which of course have been absolved now, are not present here with Mesidor. Like you expect these guys to be pro ready. You expect these guys to plug in at this age and, be able to just not have any of those, young kid rookie worries. Like I have none of those from a character perspective, and I have none of those from a play perspective either. Like this is a player that I think will know how to beat players both at the college and the NFL level, because he's so technically sound. Like I think he just knows how to win. And
yeah,
maybe I think he's strong. I feel like you and Walter both mentioned, you had strength concerns. Maybe, I don't know.
I think he's
strong.
I think he's a strong human being. Like he's a strong football player. But when I project it, like if he doesn't have the other stuff, if he's kind of just going to have to be a power rusher, I don't think he uses that well enough. Like I don't think that he's not a grizzly bear.
No.
Like he might be like a really big deer. Like he's strong. He's stronger than the average human, but he's not like, I don't see him uprooting NFL linemen. Like I don't see him getting up inside their grill and really causing a lot of displacement. I think he just uses, like I think you said, lateral agility is kind of his calling card, where he shoots inside, he finds that he gets skinny through a gap, and they move him around to exploit matchups. But he's another one where I was like, if we just stick him on the edge and have him beat, a good 6'6" athletic tackle across from him, that's where I think he'll have problems. Is facing somebody that's his caliber of strength and movement ability.
Yeah. I mean, it is very possible because when you are even if you feel like pro ready, you are older. It's like how much stronger are you really going to get? At this age, how much more polished can Akheem Mesidor really be? So
yeah, and that's the age problem. It's just like,
right,
especially when you've had injuries, like is this it? Like, is he coming into the league and kind of being who he's going to be? Because if that's the case, I'm just not interested first round. Like first round, I want a guy that probably could be my edge 1 someday. Like he'll probably come in, immediately be my edge 2. Has traits we can develop into my 1 once he hits those. And I really worry that like he is who he is. And that's just kind of what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking through the list of teams where I'd feel most comfortable with him ending up. Like, I think if he was, who's a good example? I think if he was a Buck, I think that would be a great fit. I think Bucks would be good. I think I could see him in New York, the Giants. I think I could see him in the Chargers, the Rams. Like there are a good chunk of teams where I feel like, I guess maybe it's just so tough. Like whenever looking at these players, evaluating them from a perspective of where you would take them in this draft, where you would take them in, the grand scheme, where maybe this class, definitely, I feel like first round. I think if you're looking at it from a broader perspective, that's where maybe I think I like halfway through my evaluation process stopped thinking the same way. I think that's fair. I think like I started off with where in this class would he go, and then toward the end, it more so it shifted.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes towards the end of the first round, I won't bat an eye. Like I get the appeal 100%, but my grade also just comes from like in a perfect class, in a class with more traitsy guys, with more linemen and more quarterbacks. Like I think I probably would take him probably in the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's fair. How about Derrick Moore? What were your thoughts on Derrick Moore?
He's again not a ton of them, honestly. Like I think he's a very straightforward player, but I think it's translatable, and that's kind of my thing on him. Where I think that he does have a pretty good power rush, kind of similar to how I felt about TJ Parker. I think he has a pretty good power rush. I think he has really good power rush technique, where I do think it's pretty translatable. I think he has sufficient size. He's a sufficient run defender. He's kind of just sufficient at everything. He's got long arms. I think he has 34+ inch arms that he uses pretty well on a good long arm, good bull rush. It's just like, I don't see him being anything more than a solid rotational piece. That's why I comped him to Derrick Hall, who is another one of those like kind of athletic, stout, long-armed guys where I think if Derrick Hall wasn't playing in Seattle, we'd have a little bit of a different opinion on him. So if Derrick Moore came in and was like an edge 3, just kind of pin your ears back and attack, I think he would be in favorable light, but I don't ever think he could be an edge 1. And an edge 2 maybe down the line, but he's more of just like a fringe 3-4 guy for me right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like this was the player that I had the least amount of thoughts about. While trying to figure out who he reminded me of, it ended up being D Ford, and then I came to realize D Ford was drafted in the 1st round. I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
That is insane. So I would obviously not comp him to D Ford for that reason. But like he's just like inconsistent, I feel like, and inconsistent in the way that the flashes of good are a lot fewer.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was getting washed out in the run a lot. I didn't think he really made too many plays defending the run whatsoever. Like he just kind of, once he got stonewalled, like I found him just kind of standing there a lot, and not like literally, but there wasn't like that motor, that second effort of trying to find a way around. Like it just wasn't really there a lot of the time when I watched him, but he's got decent measurables. Like there are guys, like I've mentioned him a couple of times now, he falls in this bucket of players, but he is definitely toward the later half of this bunch. And as of right now, out of the 16 edge rushers we're talking about, this is my edge 16. Like
that's possible.
He's not inspired.
This honestly is a pretty common ranking of just having him like an early to mid day 3. That's pretty common. Yeah. He had a really good Senior Bowl, which has kind of made other people be like, oh, is that true? Because have you heard of Markel Bell?
I have. I mean, I've heard the name. I don't know much
He's
about him.
he's the left tackle for Miami. He's 6'9", over 340 pounds. He's huge. And Derrick Moore threw him into the air, like completely destroyed him on a bull rush. So people were like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah,
Like no one has moved Markel Bell all year, and Derrick Moore just unleashes into him, and kind of Mike Greened him a little bit. But as like the biggest lineman in the draft, that like really got people's eyes on him. And that got me to rewatch him. I liked him more on rewatch. First watch, I probably had the exact same grade as you. That I watched him up against Northwestern's Caleb Tiernan, who's a projected second round pick kind of guy. And it was a good matchup. Like he had a couple wins on a guy that I think will be an NFL player. And that made me feel a little better about it.
I mean, there were definitely some reps where I'm like, wow, like he could punch. Like there were some blows he threw, and he was really having some tackles stumble backward. So it doesn't shock me that I probably saw the clip. I just didn't quite connect that it was Derrick Moore at the time.
Yeah.
But there were some flashes of that. It just felt like there weren't enough. And I think he's a fine build, but he's not. The traits aren't overwhelming to where I feel like it's really worth it compared to other guys. Like I think there's much more to love with R. Mason Thomas, despite his size concerns, and there are a guy with Derrick Moore with a lot more size favorable traits, if you will. So just really not much to say when it comes to Derrick Moore.
No.
Ooh. I want to hear your Romello height thoughts.
He's the one where like I low-key feel like I'm hating on Romello height because he has another one of those really big fan bases, and I get it. Because again, a lot of wins and a lot of sexy wins. Like he might be the single most explosive edge rusher in this class. Like when he decides he's going to run at you, he's there pretty goddamn quick if there's no lineman in his way. And I do think that he does have an element of bend. Like he does have a little bit of a pass rush bag to him at times. But my biggest concern is I think any tight end can block him in the run game. Like completely wash him out. It's not just like a David Bailey where you have some concerns. Like I think he is going to get driven to the sideline by like a running back in the run game if he were to block. Like he's 234 pounds with 32-inch arms. I don't even know if they're 32. I think they're around there. Also 25 years old with an extensive, serious injury history where I'm just like, I can't put all my marbles on a speed rusher that is 234 pounds and he can't move anybody. He gets moved. That's why I compared him to Caleb on Chason, because coming into the league, that's who he was, where he was very small, but super explosive. And it took him 4 to 5 years to build up enough NFL strength to finally become an impact player. Height doesn't have that. He'll be 30 by the time that he could, develop the way Chason did. So I think he could come in and be an explosive pass rusher. I think I could see him being very impactful for somebody. But again, like base defense, he's getting absolutely moved by NFL tackles.
Yeah. I don't think you're a hater because I agree with basically everything you said. I don't see it, man. I'm shocked to hear some of the thoughts about height. Like when it comes to the biggest, fattest, most obvious red flags, he's got them all. Like he really does. And I think this is a classic case of just staring at the shiny stuff and looking past everything else. Like you drive into these big fancy neighborhoods and wow, look at that big huge house with that fancy car out front, but a single dad lives there who destroyed his family. So how great is it? Like I don't know how that even that's just how it feels. Like I'm watching this tape, it's like holy shit, like that was an insanely pretty crazy fast pass rush win, but we're just not seeing like under the hood, which aren't even under the hood issues, if we're being honest, like the real translatable problems. And I mean, Josh Uche is that was the guy that came to my mind. And that's somebody that had success in the NFL, but he was also 21. He didn't have injury history.
Right.
Like we're like, this is legitimately asking for a bust. Like if you ask me to do like a percentage ratio of bust to valued investment, like I think I'm going 90% bust, 10% like return on investment.
Yeah. Like he's a guy I could comfortably see washing out like fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very fast. And even if it pans out, I still don't think I'd look back and say, what an idiot I am. I wouldn't. Like, it's just, you hit the lottery. Like, this is a player that I think you'll have to, like, hit the lottery with in order for it to really be worth what some people are suggesting it be worth. Like, I'd be fine taking him early day 3, but before that, like, fuck, man, there's just, and I haven't even gotten to every other position yet, but as far as edge rushers go, there's a lot of other guys I'd rather take first, let alone every other position in the sport.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Like if you need like a speed DPR, that's like the last thing that your team is needing. I could see it. But like if we're needing a guy that's going to play more than 50% of our snaps in his rookie contract, like I don't see that happening. Unfortunately.
No, I don't either. Yeah, I think another guy that I think will he's like a fly. When I watched him, I think I said it in the Discord. When I watched him, he reminded me of like that bug that like skims across the surface of water, and like you can't see it move until it gets to its next destination. Like that's how height plays.
Yes.
But the easiest way to get rid of a bug like that is you just swat it. You just, it
like
stops when you swat it.
That's what I'm worried about. Like one punch can completely throw him off of his game. And like he had a really good game against Utah, which does have two very quality NFL caliber linemen. So that's the game where all the Texas Tech edge rusher fans are like, no, but he did it against them. We did it against them. But then he went against Arizona State's right tackle. I forget how to pronounce his name, like Max Ahinakor or whatever, however you pronounce it. And he got swallowed, like completely swallowed, because the guy has nimble feet and he's 325. Really good lineman. Completely swallowed him, was snatch trapping him to the ground multiple times, like completely had him in a box. And that's kind of where I worry, is like playing guys that are kind of built like Ahinakor and guys that are kind of built like a Taylor Moton. Like if they can move and if they're strong, I think they're going to plow them into the stands.
Yeah. I can confidently say I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, how about LT Overton? I went into LT Overton. I turned his tape on and I went to the Discord. I'm like, the fuck? Like, what is that? Is that a Goomba?
It's a Goomba.
Like,
he's
it's very possible, but like he just is built so interestingly. But I came to grow a little bit fond of his tape. I really didn't. He's not a bad player. Like, let's get that out there right now. He is actually I think he what you expect from LT Overton, I think he served his purpose very well. Good pad level. I think the frame that he has such a weird frame, but he does a good job of standing his ground. Mm-hmm. Like his ability to also, like, similar to Mesidor in a way, like slide into gaps and like kind of pong his way into small areas that you wouldn't expect a wider guy to be able to fit into. I think he does well. Obviously you're not getting much explosiveness with LT Overton. You're not going to really expect him to, David Bailey his way around a tackle or anything, but he has at times blown offensive linemen back to, blow up some runs in the backfield. And I think you know what you're kind of getting with Overton. And I don't think you're going to be getting much more at the NFL level, but it's not necessarily, bad either.
No, he's the kind of guy where I projected that he would play for 5 teams in his career. Like, I don't see him being like the kind of guy where teams are like, oh yeah, bring him back. We need Overton. We need Overton on our team. I think he's going to play a lot of interior. I comped him to someone like Draymond Jones, who kind of already is doing that, like that team hopping once people realize he's not amazing, but he's fine. He can play edge. He can play interior. He's got sufficient length. I think he would be better if he wasn't wearing number 22.
Yeah.
That really threw me off. They also have another D lineman in the 20s that pissed me off. But I just see him being one of these like Danico Autry type, like good, fine football players. Like he's very hard to move in the run game. He can clog up some passing lanes. Like he can make the game a little murkier. upside is where you really have the question. Where you're like, is he, like you said, like, is he going to be any better than like he is right now? Like, is this just we're drafting him and he comes in and that's just him? Like, I don't see like him winning on the outside track. I don't see really any speed at all. Like, he's probably the slowest edge of the class. I don't see like a lot of like urgency to get sacks. Is kind of just, and I think a lot of that was scheme for him too. Like, he was very much schemed right over the tackle, 2 hands on his chest. Like, we're containing, we're run defending. I'm curious what it looks like in a different role, but I think the NFL will have him playing the exact same role, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't hate if he slid inside. I really wouldn't hate that idea. I guess the cool part is you can do either, with Overton. So I guess that's a positive. But yeah, I think ultimately the reason why you're looking at most likely a day 3 player is because you just know what you're going to get. Like, we've seen it, and it's tough to project much more from him. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player. Like, this is a guy, like you said, every time he hits free agency, all of the most followed accounts in every fan base that needs that position are going to be like sleeper free agent, LT Overton. He can come in and fill this role for us immediately. Like, I see those posts all the time for the Bills. And it's like, Josh Palmer, like, they did that with Josh Palmer. It's like, no, we all knew Josh Palmer was going to suck. But with Overton, like, I could see him, making an offseason cut up during this time of year for the next team that's going to sign him. Like, that is exactly where I could see Overton in the next 6 years.
I think it also helps he was a 5-star recruit at Bama. Like,
didn't know
that will give you like infinite love for the rest of your life. And the reason I kind of got lower on him was I was like, I don't know, man. Like, if this guy was like a 3-star recruit from South Florida, I don't think that people would even draft him. Like, like, it would take a lot of convincing to get people to draft him. But the strong Alabama 5-star, like, that's a lot sexier of an image when you look at it. Despite a Goomba wearing 22, like, that's not that hurt the eyes a little bit. But he's a fine player. Like, I don't have a lot of cons, honestly. Like, he's just, all the cons are just the lack of upside, the lack of like high upside traits, the pass rush. Like, I think he's just going to be a fine henchman. That's just going to be his game.
Yeah, it's funny. I just realized that I didn't even mention this as part of the reason why I comped into Thomas Booker, but people did that with Thomas Booker when the Eagles and Raiders made that trade. They did that exact thing. They talked about, look at Thomas Booker. This is a great sleeper pickup. It's like, is he? Like, how much is Thomas Booker really going to do? Like, let's be honest.
That's honestly a pretty good comp, because that was he was kind of pretty undersized coming out of college. Like, he was kind of that like 290 something, probably 280 something build.
Yeah, and everyone's like, no, this trade, so good. Great value. All right, sure. I'm so
whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
What about Josh Josephs?
Not a lot of thoughts on Josh Josephs either. He's kind of one of those guys that I think can also collect some of those like splashy, quick wins, because he is built in a lab to rush the passer. Like, he's lean, he's fast, he has really, really long arms. Like, I found that it's like 34 plus. Like, he is built to be a pass rusher. Just like, unfortunately, I also think that he gets completely washed by any blocker, really, like tight ends, fullbacks, you name it, especially an NFL tackle. Like, he's taking him to the bus. And that's why I comped him to D'Angelo Malone, where it's kind of one of these, like, these guys, again, where people are like, oh, there's like an untapped ceiling of pass rush there. Like, if we can just get him on the field, D'Angelo Malone, you never know. And then he never finds the field, because that doesn't exist. You have to be able to defend the run. And even then, like, I think he moves well, but I don't think he's very coordinated.
No.
So it's like, yes, he can be bursty and he can use his length, but like, I don't think that he's overly like smooth and coordinated enough to like really, like, at least with someone like Romello Height, I was like, he's a really good athlete and he's like pretty coordinated. Like, he can use his bend and he can stay balanced and finish sacks. I don't think I see Joshua Joseph even really doing that in the league. So D'Angelo Malone it is.
I like it. Yeah, I have, I share a lot of those similar sentiments. And I think a guy like him is, as you said earlier, you put it nicely, in order to develop, you have to be on the field. And if you can't stop the run, you're not going to be on the field. And I found myself skipping through a lot of tape, waiting to find Josh Josephs on the field. I'm like, where is he, dog?
He hurt?
Get on the fucking field, dude. Like, play football. And I'm like, all right, well, obviously that speaks for something. Like there's a reason why he's not on the field right now. And it's, it happened. There were a few reps where it's like, yeah, man, he just got bitched. And same thing for, a lot of the time where he was another guy I found where if he got chipped, good night. Like,
yeah,
he's not generating more momentum. He's not strong enough to win the rep after that. Like, if you do anything to disrupt his plan or his timing, he's irrelevant. He just felt like he was easy to phase out. He wasn't even, like I said, on the field a lot. But there were those flashes, same thing with like Derrick Moore in a way. Like these two guys in my head kind of were, mirror images of each other at some points because they're just like, I don't love them. There's something to like, but ultimately I'm not feeling too great about what they're going to do in the NFL.
Yeah, that the projection's my main thing for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't feel like there was much bend either. I don't know. Like I felt like he was rushing upright. Like kind of what you were saying about his, you called it, did you say he was clumsy or uncoordinated?
Uncoordinated. Like it just felt like, yeah, like he was clumsy though. Like that's also a good word where I was like, yeah. I felt like every ounce of contact would just move him off balance.
Mm-hmm.
So like trying to like, bend the corner and like make a play while like through contact was just not happening unless he completely got by the tackle's hip and then had a free lane.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That brings us to our last edge rusher, Dani Dennis Sutton. This is the most recent edge rusher I watched. And I mean, this guy is Danielle Hunter. And like from a frame perspective, this is Danielle Hunter. Like this is exactly what you want. Like he is scary looking. He is an overwhelmingly scary human. Like you see him lining up across from you, like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like, but on the other hand, he is somebody I would trust to watch my kids, to take care of my butterfly enclosure. He wouldn't hurt a fly. I was like, where's like the violence with this guy?
Oh my God. Yeah.
There's none. There's no explosiveness. He's not like mean. If Gabe Jacas had this frame, he'd be 101.
He would be the first overall pick. I swear.
Yes, he would. But like with Dani Dennis Sutton, and same thing with, I comped him to Charles.
Omenihu? Yeah.
Thank you. Like another huge player. And you're like, man, if he just was like mean, if he had some mean streak in him, he would just be crazy good. Like there would be some flashes, but the flashes were just not frequent enough purely because I just don't think he's mean. I think he's just too good of a guy to be playing football, really.
Yeah, man. I remember my first time watching because he was getting like late first, early second hype. Like there was legit preseason.
Okay.
Because this is before people really watch. They just see like 6'5", 260 something, long arms from Penn State. He looks like off the bus. He looks like the 101. He looks like he should be elite. I have a late day 3 on him. I compared him to Isaiah Thomas from Oklahoma. I don't know if people like remember him from a couple of years ago. Kind of got washed out the league. He was like 6'5", 6'6", like 265, all muscle. Like he looked off the bus like a beast. And then you turn it on. We're like, I watched a couple pass rush reps, and I was like, wow, he didn't go anywhere at all. Like he just kind of tried to like, but he didn't even try to play with power. He tried to like bend around the arc and like just got shoved, like onto the floor. And then I was like, okay, maybe we got to run defense specialist here. And he's just getting cleaned out by like Big Ten linemen that won't play in the NFL. Like they're just completely driving him out, and he won't even try to set an anchor. Like he just runs out. Like he clears his edge. He gives it to him. It's insane. And I was like, maybe I will put a late day 3 on him just because if somebody like pisses him off, if something happens in his life, he goes broke, maybe he gets mad and he becomes a good football player. For the time being, I think realistically, if I was being truthful, a UDFA, like honestly, like not draftable based off the tape. I gave him a late day 3 just in case, I don't know, something happens. And this class sucks still. But overall, I would really not want my team investing any draft capital on him. And I hate to be like the hater guy, but like I didn't see anything on tape that I could write down outside of just like big. And he does move kind of well sometimes. Like I think his movement is very sufficient for his size. It's just like, damn. this sucks. He can't go anywhere. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I think he's got pad level problems. He just, like you said, just will not really try to play with what strength he should have for this size. Like, I'm kind of interested to see how many reps he benches. Like, I'm sure he's going to do a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, there's got to be something going on here because there's just such an intimidating person in front of us. And he just doesn't play like it. Like, I think, like you said, off the bus, you're scared. But then after you're like one drive in, you're like, all right, well, that was underwhelming.
Yeah, our tight end's going to drive him to the bus now. Like,
I just don't see it either. I think you're the hater in this case. I would say, like, I usually am, but in this case, I still, like you said, I would be fine, like, maybe paying some, like, broke teenager to, like, pop his tires, and then hopefully he turns into a psycho. Like, I would be willing to draft him and then pull something like that because there's just could be so much here. So for the frame itself, I would be fine taking him. And it really breaks my heart to say, but I would be fine taking him over R. Mason Thomas just because I'm that sure that R. Mason Thomas is just going to unfortunately fizzle out. I think it's going to happen with Dennis Sutton too, but I like, this is legitimately Danielle Hunter 2.0, like, frame wise. Like, this is him.
Yeah, but Hunter's mean as shit. He's really mean.
We gotta tap into it. We have to find a way.
I would take R. Mason Thomas like 5 rounds earlier than I would take Dennis Sutton. Oh god, that tape just really made me mad. And R. Mason Thomas, I know, like, none of his traits like really do well to, go to the NFL, but he has so many wins on tape. We were like, yeah, hell yeah, man. Like, yeah, destroy that Auburn quarterback, destroy that quarterback. But it was just like, Dennis Sutton, he just didn't want to get his jersey dirty.
Yeah.
But he did because he kept getting pushed over. It's like, man, I can't watch this anymore. I turned it off pretty quick.
Well, that will finish our 16 edge rusher evaluation, if you will. I feel like we'll be revisiting some of the, once the draft becomes closer, we'll, obviously continue to talk about these guys and everything. And, our opinions could very easily change by then. But with that said, do you have a rankings list that you want to quickly run through just for the sake of, like, clip? What is that? What was that term? Clip farming?
I don't have like a good ranking still. Like, it's mine sucks. Like, I did like a couple weeks ago, but I think if I had to quickly put together my top 5, I don't know. Do I count Reese as an edge?
You don't have to.
If he is an edge, I still got Rueben, Bain 1. If Reese is an edge, I'm putting him at 2. I would still probably do David Bailey 3. And then at 4, I'm kind of 4 and 5 is going to be Malachi Lawrence and Keldric Faulk.
Okay. I think I have a list. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with it. Maybe I'll go and rewatch some players after the fact. But I have Rueben Bain 1, of course. I have Zion Young 2. Akheem Mesidor 3. I got Reese at 4. And then at 5 is where I have David Bailey. And then Malachi Lawrence is right on the bubble at my 6. So I feel like there's a pretty obvious trend with who I have in my top bunch here. Just, bigger, freakier kind of players is kind of where I'm obviously starting to lean.
It's good.
Gabe Jacas, I might move him up. I love him. I think he might be my guy just because he's just so funny. He's
hilarious. He's so much fun.
We might just have to move him up. I think I'm going to establish that. Gabe Jacas is my guy because he's just funny and a psycho. So, yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. You can chat about prospects in the Discord with us, also linked in the description. But if you enjoyed, like, comment, share, subscribe, and we will see you in episode 94.